I never expected to walk into such a scene. After finishing my shift early at the software company, all I wanted was to surprise Amanda, my girlfriend of 1.5 years. We had been living together in my apartment for 6 months, and things seemed perfect between us. Or so I thought. As I turned my key in the lock, something felt off. I heard unfamiliar laughter, smelled cologne I did not recognize, and when I stepped into my own living room, I saw 2 wine glasses on the coffee table. My stomach dropped instantly. Before I continue with what happened next, drop a comment letting me know where you are watching from, and if you have ever had to deal with an ex showing up unexpectedly. Do not forget to subscribe for more real-life stories. I met Amanda at a company networking event 18 months ago. She worked for a marketing firm that occasionally collaborated with my software development company. The first time I saw her across the room, I was captivated by her confident smile and the intelligent way she carried herself in conversation. With her dark hair falling just past her shoulders and those striking green eyes, I found myself making excuses to talk to her throughout the evening. By the end of the night, I had her number, and within a week we were on our first date at a small Italian restaurant downtown. The conversation flowed easily between us, jumping from travel stories to career aspirations to silly childhood memories. 3 hours passed in what felt like minutes. When I walked her to her door that night, the kiss we shared confirmed what I already suspected: this was the beginning of something special. Our relationship progressed quickly after that. Amanda was not only beautiful but ambitious and kind. She had built an impressive career as a marketing strategist, and her clients adored her creative approach to campaigns. I found myself falling deeper in love with each passing month. Recently, I had even started looking at engagement rings, keeping a saved photo of a princess-cut diamond on my phone that I knew would be perfect for her. When Amanda moved into my apartment 6 months ago, it felt like the natural progression of our relationship. We spent evenings cooking together, weekends exploring hiking trails outside the city, and lazy Sunday mornings planning our future. We talked about buying a house in the suburbs next year, possibly getting a dog, and even tentative conversations about children someday. I had never felt more secure in a relationship before. I invested everything into building our life together. Beyond the emotional investment, I renovated parts of the apartment to accommodate her home office, bought new furniture that matched her aesthetic, and even traded in my sports car for something more practical that we could take on road trips. My friends joked that I was completely whipped, but I did not care. I was happy, and I thought she was too. Looking back now, I should have noticed the changes that started about a month ago. Amanda began guarding her phone, angling the screen away when I entered the room, or taking calls in the bathroom with the shower running. She started mentioning her ex-boyfriend Jake in casual conversation, bringing up memories from their relationship, or wondering aloud what he might be doing now. Our physical intimacy diminished gradually. She began going to bed later than me, claiming she needed to finish work projects. When I tried to initiate affection, she would give me a quick peck on the lips before finding an excuse to create distance. I wrote it off as work stress, or perhaps a phase in our relationship. When you love someone, you give them the benefit of the doubt. The morning of that fateful day started like any other. Amanda was already gone when I woke up for work, having left a note saying she had an early client meeting. I texted her during my lunch break to say I might be able to leave work early, but she never responded. As the afternoon progressed, I finished my coding project ahead of schedule, and my team leader told me I could head out a couple hours early. On the drive home, I decided to surprise Amanda with a special evening. I stopped at her favorite florist and picked up a bouquet of white lilies and pink roses. Then I went to the grocery store for ingredients to cook her favorite meal, lemon garlic salmon with roasted asparagus. I even splurged on an expensive bottle of Chardonnay that we had tried at a restaurant once, but considered too pricey for regular consumption. My heart felt light as I drove through the city streets, imagining her surprised smile when I presented my romantic gesture. Maybe tonight would even be the perfect opportunity to bring up the topic of engagement. I had been saving for months, and was nearly ready to purchase the ring I had my eye on. As I pulled into the parking lot of our apartment complex, I noticed an unfamiliar black SUV parked in the visitor spot closest to our building. I did not think much of it initially, assuming it belonged to one of the neighbors or their guests. I gathered the grocery bags and flowers, carefully balancing everything as I made my way up the stairs to our third-floor unit. When I reached our door, I heard laughter from inside. Amanda must have come home early too, I thought. Maybe she had invited a colleague over. But as I stood there with my key in hand, I detected a male voice, low and familiar somehow, though I could not immediately place it. An uncomfortable feeling settled in my chest as I inserted my key and pushed the door open. The scene that greeted me in my own living room stopped me cold. Amanda was sitting on our couch much closer than necessary to a tall, athletic-looking man I recognized instantly from photos as her ex-boyfriend Jake. Between them on the coffee table sat an open bottle of wine and 2 half-filled glasses. Amanda was wearing the silky blue blouse I had given her for her birthday, her hair and makeup done, as if for a special occasion. The 3 of us froze in a moment of startled silence. I stood in the doorway, still clutching the grocery bags and flowers, while Amanda and Jake remained on the couch, their bodies angled toward each other. Jake recovered first, a smug smile spreading across his face as he leaned back casually as if he belonged there. Amanda looked like a deer caught in headlights, her eyes wide with panic. "You must be Jace," Jake said, standing and extending his hand as if we were being introduced at a business meeting. "Amanda has told me so much about you." I ignored his outstretched hand, setting down the groceries and flowers on the entryway table. Amanda jumped to her feet, smoothing her blouse, which I now noticed was slightly untucked and wrinkled. "Jace, you are home early," she said, her voice higher than normal. "Jake just stopped by to return some old books of mine he found while moving. We were just catching up as friends." I looked around the room, taking in details that contradicted her explanation. There were no books visible anywhere. Her lipstick was smudged slightly at the corner of her mouth. The playlist coming from the speakers was our special romantic mix. Nothing about this scenario felt innocent. "Friends, huh?" I said, my voice surprisingly steady despite the adrenaline coursing through me. "And how long have you two been catching up as friends?" Jake chuckled, placing a possessive hand on Amanda's shoulder. "Oh, we have been reconnecting for a few weeks now. I often swing by when you are at work. Your apartment is nice, though the furniture is not really my style. Too modern." My blood boiled at his casual admission, and the territorial way he touched Amanda in front of me. The fact that she did not immediately shrug off his hand told me everything I needed to know. "Get out," I said to Jake, my voice dropping to a dangerous calm. "Now." Jake raised an eyebrow, looking more amused than concerned. "I am not sure that is what Amanda wants." He turned to her. "Do you want me to leave, babe?" The familiar term of endearment hung in the air between us. Amanda glanced nervously between Jake and me, clearly caught in her own deception. "I think maybe we should all talk about this calmly," she suggested, her voice trembling slightly. "There is nothing to discuss," I replied firmly. "This is my apartment. I am not asking. Jake needs to leave immediately, or I will call the police and report him for trespassing." Jake stared at me, his eyes narrowing as he assessed whether I was bluffing. I met his gaze unflinchingly, pulling out my phone to demonstrate my seriousness. We stood like that for several tense seconds, the air crackling with hostility. I noticed details about him I instantly despised: the expensive watch probably bought to impress, the overpowering cologne, the practiced confidence of someone used to getting his way. "Fine," Jake finally said with an exaggerated sigh. "I will go." This time, he grabbed his jacket from the arm of the couch and leaned in to whisper something in Amanda's ear that made her eyes widen. Then he strode toward the door, deliberately bumping my shoulder as he passed. At the threshold, he turned back with a smirk. "She always comes back to me in the end, you know. It is just a matter of time." With that parting shot, he was gone, his footsteps echoing down the hallway. The moment the door closed behind him, Amanda erupted. "How dare you embarrass me like that?" she shouted, her face flushed with anger. "Jake is just a friend, and you treated him like a criminal. You had no right to kick him out." I stared at her in disbelief. After being caught in such a compromising situation, she was somehow turning this around on me. A friend in our apartment drinking our wine with no mention to me that he would be here. I asked incredulously. "You expect me to believe that?" "Yes, because it is true." She insisted, though her eyes would not quite meet mine. "You are being paranoid and controlling. This is exactly why I have been feeling suffocated lately." As if on cue, her phone buzzed on the coffee table. The screen lit up with a text notification clear enough for me to read. "Miss you already. Let me know when Control Freak leaves and I will come back." Amanda lunged for the phone, but she was too late. I had seen enough. The text was just confirmation of what I already knew in my gut. "So, I am a control freak now," I said quietly. "Interesting how I never was before during the 1.5 years we have been together. Only now when I catch you cheating." "I am not cheating," she protested, but her voice lacked conviction. "We were just talking. You are jumping to conclusions because you are insecure." Her phone buzzed again. This time she grabbed it quickly, but not before I caught a glimpse of another message from Jake referencing their amazing afternoon before I arrived home. As I watched her frantically trying to hide the evidence, her strategy shifted before my eyes. The defensive anger gave way to tearful accusations. "If I have been distant lately, it is because you have been neglecting me," she claimed, tears starting to form. "You are always working late, and when you are home, you are distracted. Jake actually listens to me. He makes me feel appreciated." I felt a strange calm settle over me as the full picture became clear. The late nights, the guarded phone, the mentions of Jake, the decreased intimacy. It all made perfect sense now. "Amanda," I said, surprised by the steadiness in my voice, "I think we both know what is happening here. I am not going to yell or make a scene, but I am not going to be manipulated either." I walked to the window, needing a moment to organize my thoughts. Outside, I could see Jake's black SUV still in the parking lot. He had not actually left. He was waiting for her. Something crystallized in that moment. This was not a one-time mistake, but a deliberate pattern of deception. I have been working late to save for our future. I continued, turning back to face her. I have been distracted because I was researching engagement rings. I was planning to propose next month. Her expression changed to one of shock, then calculation, then regret in rapid succession. I see the text messages. I see Jake waiting in the parking lot. I notice how you are dressed up on a Tuesday afternoon when you claim to have a work meeting. The pieces all fit now. You have been seeing him behind my back for weeks, probably longer. Jace, it is not what you think," she began, but I raised my hand to stop her. "Please do not insult my intelligence further. I have spent 18 months believing in us, investing in us, planning a future with you. And all the while you have been lying to my face." I took a deep breath, aware that the next words would change everything. "Our relationship is over effective immediately. I would like you to pack your essential things and leave. You can come back for the rest of your belongings tomorrow, while I am at work." Amanda's face crumpled, her strategy shifting once again. "You cannot mean that," she whispered. "We have been through so much together. You cannot throw it all away over one mistake." "This was not one mistake," I replied. "This was a series of calculated decisions you made every time you invited him here, every text you sent him, every lie you told me. I deserve better than that. I deserve honesty." "But I love you," she cried, reaching for my hand. I stepped back, maintaining the physical boundary that now matched our emotional one. "If you loved me, we would not be having this conversation," I said simply. Seeing that her tears were not working, Amanda switched tactics again. "This is my home, too. You cannot just kick me out. I have rights. The lease is in my name," I reminded her. "You have no legal claim to this apartment. I am giving you 24 hours to move your things, which is more than generous under the circumstances." As the reality of the situation sank in, Amanda began frantically trying different approaches to change my mind. She promised it would never happen again. She claimed Jake had manipulated and pursued her. She brought up happy memories from our relationship. She even suggested couples therapy. Through it all, I remained firm. My decision was made. I helped her pack a suitcase with enough clothes and personal items for a few days, all while she alternated between crying, pleading, and occasional bursts of anger. It was emotionally exhausting, but I refused to be swayed. When she finally left, rolling her suitcase behind her, I watched from the window as she got into Jake's waiting SUV. He put his arm around her as she entered the vehicle, shooting one triumphant glance up at my window before driving away. That final image confirmed I had made the right choice, painful though it was. The apartment felt eerily quiet after she left. I walked from room to room, seeing evidence of our relationship everywhere. Photos on the walls, her books on the shelves, the throw pillows she had insisted would perfect our living room. What once felt like a shared home now felt like a museum of betrayal. Over the next few days, Amanda called and texted constantly. I answered only once to coordinate when she could collect her remaining belongings. The rest of her messages I read but did not respond to. They ranged from apologetic to accusatory to nostalgic, sometimes all three in the span of minutes. Her friends began reaching out too. Some were sympathetic, admitting they had suspected something was going on but did not want to get involved. Others accused me of overreacting, claiming Amanda had made a mistake, but deserved forgiveness. One even suggested I should be flattered that she chose me over Jake in the end, as if her leaving with him that day and then wanting to come back was something to celebrate rather than another manipulation. The lowest point came 3 days after the breakup, when Jake himself texted me from an unknown number. "Thanks for the girlfriend upgrade. She is staying at my place now. Must hurt to know she prefers a real man." I blocked the number without responding. His juvenile attempt to provoke me only reinforced my decision. If these were the people Amanda chose to associate with, then we were fundamentally incompatible. The nights were the hardest. I would lie awake replaying warning signs I had missed, conversations that now held new meaning. Sleep came in short bursts, and I would often wake up reaching for someone who was no longer there. But despite the pain, not once did I question whether I had made the right choice. Some betrayals cannot and should not be forgiven. The weeks following the breakup became my time for healing and rediscovery. I threw myself into work, taking on additional projects that challenged me creatively and kept my mind occupied during the day. My boss noticed my increased productivity and mentioned the possibility of a promotion if I kept it up. On weekends, I reconnected with friends I had somewhat neglected during my relationship. Brian and Logan, my two closest friends since college, were especially supportive. They never said "I told you so," even though they had expressed reservations about how quickly Amanda and I had moved in together. "You know what you need," Brian said one evening as we shot pool at our favorite bar. "You need to remember who you were before her." He was right. I had allowed my identity to become so intertwined with being Amanda's boyfriend that I had lost touch with my own passions. I started playing basketball again on Thursday nights, something I had given up because Amanda complained about the late games. I renewed my membership at a rock climbing gym and felt a rush of accomplishment with each new route I conquered. Logan introduced me to his hiking group, and I found unexpected peace on those mountain trails away from cell service and surrounded by people who knew nothing about my relationship drama. The physical exertion and natural beauty offered perspective that my apartment, still filled with memories, could not. I also made changes to my living space, reclaiming it as my own. I rearranged the furniture, painted the living room a color I had always liked, and replaced the bedding Amanda had chosen. Each change, though small, helped erase the visual reminders of betrayal. Perhaps the most therapeutic activity was journaling. Every night before bed, I would write down my thoughts and feelings, allowing myself to process the anger and hurt rather than suppressing them. Some entries were bitter rants, others reflective analyses of where things went wrong, and gradually they evolved into hopeful musings about the future. 3 months after our breakup, I arrived home from work to find Amanda sitting on the floor outside my apartment door, a small suitcase beside her. She looked nothing like the confident woman I had fallen for. Her hair was limp, her eyes puffy from crying, her usually impeccable style replaced by wrinkled casual clothes. "Jace," she said, scrambling to her feet as I approached. "I need to talk to you." I unlocked my door, and against my better judgment invited her in for 5 minutes. The apartment looked so different now that she glanced around in confusion, as if confirming she was in the right place. "Jake and I broke up," she blurted out before even sitting down. "He was just using me. Once he got what he wanted, he started treating me terribly. I realized what a mistake I made. No one has ever treated me as well as you did." I felt a twinge of sympathy, but no urge to reconnect. "I am sorry to hear that," I said honestly, "but it changes nothing between us." "Please," she begged, tears streaming down her face. "I know I made a horrible mistake. I took you for granted. I will do anything to get another chance. I miss you so much." Looking at her, I realized something important. The pain I once felt had dulled to indifference. The woman crying before me had once been the center of my world, but now she was just someone I used to know. Someone who had taught me a valuable lesson about self-respect. "Amanda," I said gently, "what happened between us cannot be fixed. I wish you well, but my answer is no. Our time together is over." "But I love you," she whispered, echoing her words from months ago. "If that is true, then respect my decision," I replied. "That would be the loving thing to do." She left that day, and I have not heard from her since. The encounter gave me something unexpected: closure. I no longer wondered what if or imagined alternate scenarios where we worked things out. I was free from the emotional limbo of uncertainty. The greatest lesson I learned through all of this is that self-respect is not negotiable. When someone shows you who they truly are, through their actions, believe them the first time. I had to lose someone I thought was irreplaceable to discover my own resilience and worth. These days, my life feels authentic in a way it never did with Amanda. I recently met someone named Sophia at a photography class I started taking. Our connection developed slowly, built on genuine interest and transparency. She knows my story and has been patient with my cautious approach to dating again. Yesterday, Sophia and I had dinner at the same Italian restaurant where I had my first date with Amanda. As we walked out under the stars, I realized I felt no ghosts of the past, no comparisons, no lingering pain. Just gratitude for the journey that led me here, and excitement for what lies ahead. Sometimes the hardest doors to close are the ones that lead to the most beautiful openings elsewhere. I never would have chosen this path, but I am now thankful for where it has led me. What about you? Have you ever had to make the difficult choice to walk away from someone you loved after a betrayal? How did you rebuild afterward? Let me know in the comments below. If this story resonated with you, please consider subscribing and sharing it with someone who might need to hear that better days await after heartbreak. Thank you for listening to my story, and remember, your worth is never determined by how others treat you, but by how you choose to treat yourself.